Today, we're going to talk about 5 key habits to strengthen your relationship. Hi, friends. Welcome to Relationship Alchemy. I'm Marie Elizabeth Molly. To make it easy for you to remember and use what I'm going to share with you today, the 5 key habits to strengthen your relationships spell out the word habit. The H in habit stands for hold. To strengthen your relationship, you first have to hold your relationship as something that matters to you. Over time, it's all too easy to take your relationship for granted and to fall into default ways of relating to one another that don't serve you and don't serve your relationship. And especially if you're someone who loves your work like I do, and you're a high-powered, entrepreneurial kind of person, even more so do you have to watch out for the tendency to let your relationship slip to the background and kind of expect it to continue without much effort put into it. Instead, if you hold your relationship as something important to you, you won't fall into that default of just kind of letting it slide and then waking up one day and realizing, oh my God, we've grown apart. This isn't working. Think about it. The most important things in life you get done every day, and the rest tends to kind of fall by the wayside and you fit it in when you can. So stop letting your relationship be one of those things and just expecting it to be there when you get done chasing after all the other things you want. Having a thriving relationship at home actually sets you up to be more magnetic and powerful as you go out there and conquer the world. So it's worth holding as something important. Doing so will also help you follow through on the other 4 habits that I'm going to teach you today more consistently. And then, by doing these 5 habits, you'll have a stronger relationship as a result. I invite you to consider where you might have been taking your relationship for granted and take one small action today to demonstrate to yourself and your partner or partners that your relationship matters to you. Now on to the next 4 habits. The A in habit stands for ask for what you want and stick around to negotiate. We often expect our partners to just kind of know what we want, to read our minds, and then we're disappointed when they don't get it right, when actually we're not able to have them read our minds. And then very often we get resentful about that. So you know the best way to break that cycle? Start asking directly and clearly for what you want and stick around to negotiate a win-win solution if the answer isn't an immediate yes. Asking for what you want is also a beautiful and vulnerable way to invite your partner to get to know you more deeply and to give to you, which creates more intimacy and connection between you and strengthens your relationship. I invite you to ask for one small thing today that would bring you joy and celebrate your partner if they say yes and follow through on it. The B in habit stands for boundaries. You've got to know your boundaries to have a strong relationship. Not so you can smash your partner over the head with them if they mess up, but so you can teach your partner how best to love you. My 2 favorite quotes about boundaries are, "Walls keep everybody out. Boundaries teach people where the door is," by Mark Groves. And the second one is, "Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously." That's by Prentice Hemphill. I invite you to consider where you might be putting up walls in your relationship instead of showing your partner where the door is, and ways that you might be trying to love someone else at a distance that doesn't allow you to love yourself at the same time. Once you're clear on what you've been doing and if your boundaries have been fuzzy in some way, then you can start to make small changes toward clarifying your boundaries, like saying no when you mean no, and yes when you mean yes, and letting people know their impact and how you best want to be loved. The I in habit is a twofer, because it stands for initiate intentional conversations. Get in the habit of initiating intentional conversations about things you see and feel between you instead of waiting until there's a blow up to talk about it. This is not so that you can start processing your relationship all the time. which I do not recommend and is a massive drag. The habit of initiating intentional conversations is designed to nip small stuff in the bud so that it doesn't blow up into big misunderstandings down the road. And it's also designed to have you actively practice being vulnerable and open with one another on a regular basis, which is where the juiciness and the connection lies. Plus, when you're regularly initiating intentional conversations about not only what's happening between you, but also what's interesting to you in your life and what's interesting to your partner in your life outside of the relationship, the closer the two of you will feel, and the more you'll want to initiate sex too. I invite you to initiate an intentional conversation today about something that you appreciate about your partner, or something you're interested in, or something you're curious about that your partner is interested in, and see how that affects the strength of your bond. How connected do you feel to each other after that conversation? The T in habit stands for team. If you choose to start from the default position that you're on the same team and you're both looking to support one another and having what you want, the conversations you have when you're disagreeing about what that might look like go very differently than if you enter the conversation from the perspective that you have to fight to the death to win, because maybe otherwise you don't get heard. So my invitation to you is to catch when you start feeling like you're not on the same team and pause the conversation, get back to a feeling of same team first, and then reopen the conversation. In this way, you can avert a lot of knockdown, drag out, massive fights and wreckage. And another benefit is that if you historically haven't really believed or known that your loved one is necessarily by nature on your same team, like I didn't until I worked on this belief, you get to have the delightful experience of discovering just how loved and supported you really are by taking on this practice. So today we covered 5 key habits to strengthen your relationship. H is for hold, A is for ask, B is for boundaries, I is for initiate intentional conversations, and T is for team. I'm Marie Elizabeth Mali, your relationship alchemist. Until next time, remember, a great relationship starts with you.